What if I told you that doing nothing during your period was the best thing you could do as a spiritual business owner? I've been in business for 8 years, and learning to rest during my cycle truly has been a game changer for me. I'm more productive, more creative, and I enjoy my business way more. But it's not all about watching Netflix while you're down. In this video, I'm sharing exactly what to do and what not to do during your period to ensure a successful, sustainable business. Hi, I'm Marion Chloé, MSc. I am a marketing energetics coach. I teach my clients how to increase their impact and their income while doing less. Together, we work on their energy, on their mindset, and also come up with a strategy to bring in clients consistently without needing to be on all the time, which supports cycle thinking. Cycle thinking is such a game changer for anyone who is interested in having more energy while being more productive. It's all about embracing your energy's natural ebb and flows and leveraging this natural cycle for your business. I've got a whole video about it here. For now, let's jump into what to do during the first period of your cycle, which is your period. Okay, first things first. Rest is so important. And I know it goes without saying, but unfortunately in the society we live in, we have to say it. We are not machines. Your body, especially as a woman, isn't supposed to have linear energy and to produce the same output day after day, week after week. We have ebbs and flows, and embracing them and using them for your advantage makes a huge difference. And rest is a huge part of it. Your period is a natural break during your cycle, so the 3 other weeks tend to be more active, but this is a week where really you need to rest. It's like if each part of your cycle was a different season, your period would be your winter, and a lot of people refer to it as your inner winter. And like in the winter, it might seem like not a lot is happening, like you're tired, you might have cramps, you have no energy to do anything, and you're feeling useless sometimes. It happens to me. But really, there is a lot more than meets the eye beneath the surface, because your body is going through its natural cycle, getting rid of what it doesn't need and recharging for the new season ahead. When I talk about cycle thinking and your period, I really like to refer back to the red tent. So it's a concept and it's also a novel I read a few years ago, which was amazing. But basically, back in the days, probably even pre-Middle Ages, I'm not quite sure, I think it refers to late biblical time in the novel. You have a group of women who are nomadic and, they live in tents and all that. And when they have their period, because as we know, it does happen that women who live together tend to synchronize their cycle. So they all have their period at the same time and they all go in the red tent. So for 3 to 5 days, they would leave all responsibilities, like all the chores will be done by the men or by the older kids, and they will be in the tent with the babies, and they would just rest. They would rest and they would eat dates and they would just do nothing all day. And after 3 to 5 days, they would come out and they would be refreshed and ready to start again. And I think it is an amazing practice. And even though it might be a bit weird to do that in your garden nowadays, I really like this practice of carving out some time and making this time special and expecting absolutely nothing of you, because this way you actually allow your body to lead the way, which we don't do often enough, and allow it to do its thing, so then you can come out of the tent, metaphorical tent, with so much more energy and ready to take on the world. What not to do during a period, which is what most women actually do, which is pretending that nothing is happening, pretending you're not on your period, pretending that everything is normal, and trying to perform and to produce the way you would on any given day. But it's not any given day. Your body is obviously losing a lot of blood, your metabolism is slower, and your energy is definitely so low. I mean, for me, when I'm on my period, especially the first 2-3 days, I am a couch potato. I will be on the couch right here. I will be watching TV right there and doing some other things I'm going to talk about, but mainly focusing on recharging and replenishing, because I know this is a crucial moment of the month. If we don't do that, what happens? We try and create things, we try and push our bodies through, And, it might not be in a month or 2 months or 3 months, but after years and years of not being in touch with your body, a lot of shit is going to happen. A lot of your body's inner cycles and mechanisms are going to start dysfunctioning if they haven't already. So because you're listening to your mind and pushing through and forcing your body to do things that it really doesn't have the energy to do, after some time it really takes a toll on your body. So if you push through, what happens is you end up your period actually more exhausted than you were, and you carry this lack of energy into the rest of your cycle where you're supposed to have a lot of energy. So instead of taking a break and then going like way high in terms of energy, you like here and then you kind of here all the way through. So it might look like you're being more productive, but actually you're being less productive because you're not listening to your body. And beyond productivity, going against your body's energy is never going to bring the kind of results you want in your life or business. If you're trying to bring in more clients, if you're trying to have more impact in the world, to gain visibility, going against your energy is not the way to do it. Like, yes, you need to take aligned action. Yes, you need to get out of a comfort zone, like definitely. But you also need to understand and embrace your own energy, which is why during your period, you shouldn't actually plan any live events. You shouldn't plan any social plans or start new projects. And of course, as with everything I say here, you take it or you leave it. If that doesn't resonate with you, that's fine, just live it. But my experience and the ones that I've seen of people around me applying cycle syncing is that my dog is moving. You okay, Eden? Is that it makes a huge difference when you start listening to your energy. And I do remember a handful of times where I got a nudge, I got inspiration, and I started a project during my period, but that was the exception. So there are exceptions, you know your body best, and cycle syncing isn't one more rule you should abide by. It's more like guidelines, and you see what applies to you, and every month is obviously different, but in general, your period is definitely not the time you want to be social or start new things, because your energy doesn't support that. When I say be social, like, if you feel social during your period, like, good on you. But that's not my experience, because as I was saying, it is your inner winter. So it is a time to go inward, and a time where personally, even being with people, like, I'm okay with that, but I don't actually want to talk. Like, I'll talk to my partner, I'll hang out with my pets, which are great now companions. I'll maybe see 1 or 2 close friends who I feel like comfortable with and don't feel I have to like perform around. But I won't plan any live calls. I actually block off my whole week of my calendar. So I think I'm going to have my period, so I don't have client calls, because that is such deep, important work that is happening while I have my period, which is the work of resting. Okay, now we've seen what not to do during a period. Let's have a look at what to do exactly. So we've talked about rest, but let's dive into the different type of rest and what each brings to your life and how it applies to your period. So the first rest, and the one that we all think about, is physical rest. During your period, it means, not maybe going on a 12-mile hike or 12 kilometers hike, not doing like a lot of cardio or heavy lifting, and actually going for a lot of sleep. So personally, during my period, I will go for a walk, maybe a bit shorter than usual. I'll do some yoga and stretching, something that is softer than usual, but I would definitely not do something that overexerts me. And I really prioritize sleep. So I'll forego my alarm, I'll wake up when I wake up, and I will always make sure to have at least 1 nap during the day, usually here with my fluffs. I would say physical rest is the most important type of rest you can indulge in during a period, because it is also the most prevalent. And I know not everyone obviously lives their period the same way, but period is very much a physical phenomenon. So obviously your symptoms are going to be physical. And I personally have noticed that whenever I try and push through and don't rest as much, I tend to have more cramps. Whereas when I feel like I start having a cramp maybe, and I've been trying to do more than actually my body is capable of doing this day, I'll go and rest and the cramps disappear. Magic. Then second, we have mental rest, which is letting go of obligations as much as you can. As I've said, this is a time where I normally don't do a lot of hands-on client work because I don't even have the brain space for it. Anything that is analytical, that requires me to show up and to follow up and to use my strategic brain, not happening during my period. So my invitation is to let go of your obligations during your period, all the mental load that you have as much as possible. Then we have sensory rest. So that is when, although it is enjoyable to scroll on your phone and to watch Netflix, this is when we talk about the fact that actually having less stimuli during a period is what your body needs, because we're always bombarded with so many notifications and new information and so many things to do and to check and like all the time. Your period is a time to go inward. So it's a time where you want to reduce external noises as much as possible so you can listen to your own inner voice. It's all about creating space and silence around you. Next, we have emotional rest. Be super mindful, like even more than usual during your period, about which kind of energy and which kind of people you allow into your life. Because during your period, you're more tired, so you tend to be more emotional, which isn't a bad word, it just happens. I cry looking at puppy videos because it's that time of the month and that's what happens, and knowing it means that I won't schedule or I will try to avoid at least having any uncomfortable conversation with people or getting in touch with people who require a bit more energy. I'm all for being really selective and really intentional with which kind of energy you allow into your life. Let it be with your relationship, in your business, on social media, but this is even more important during a period. Then you have creative rest. Interestingly, because my analytical mind, I've noticed, is basically asleep during a period, my creative mind, the right part of my brain, is more active. Or maybe it's because since my left side, the analytical side, is kind of asleep, I can hear the other part more easily. I don't know. But basically, I feel way more creative. And when I do have some energy, I usually feel drawn to creating. So I'll be crafting, I'll be creating visual assets for my business if I feel called to do that. Anything that feels really nourishing. And to me, crafting and creating is very much a nourishing activity. And at this point, it's more to me about creating for the sake of creating than focusing on the results, which should always be the case because that is what the true creative process is about, the art of creation, the process of creation, and then letting it go and surrendering it. We all know that. But even more so during a period like this is really a time, I can't emphasize this enough, this is really a time to let yourself be. That's it. And then the penultimate type of rest is social rest. So as I said, not the best time of the month to schedule a lot of social activities. Sometimes it is unavoidable, but take into account that it might take you more time to recharge after a social event than if you were in your ovulation or follicular phase, for example. And then the last type of rest is spiritual rest. It's all about using your intuition more. And I just mentioned, the creative part of me. To me, it is very much linked to your intuition and to being a channel and being in touch with God or the universe or your guide, wherever you look up to. It's really much about fostering this connection. And this is actually bringing us to our second advice on what to do during a period, which is listen more. Listen more to your body, listen more to your heart, listen more to your intuition, but listen inward instead of listening outward to all the noises of all the people that you've met and probably will never meet that you know from online. Your period is a time of heightened intuition. And you can leverage this by channeling the energy of your future self or channeling the energy of a next offer, for example. So it is technically business related, but we're talking more about tapping into the energy of what wants to be birthed next, rather than like planning a long strategy that's going to take 12 weeks. It's really a great opportunity to gain some insights into your life, into your business, to connect with the energy of your next clients. What I like to do during this time personally is to do readings. I'll do a reading for me. I might offer one to clients. I've relaunched my business energy readings recently, which is where I connect with the energy of your business and channel messages from this energy and from your higher self and from your guides and bring them first to you so you can check in into the energy of your business. Because also this is something that I really encourage you to do on a daily basis. It's always a bit harder to do it when it's your own business. And that's why I get readings from other people from my business from time to time. And I like to offer it to other spiritual business owners because it is so important to check in with the energy of your business, where it wants you to go. And it truly comforts you in knowing that you're on the right track. So often our intuition is really on point, but we tend to dismiss it or not to pay it as much attention as we should. And having a reading, I have found, both as a client and as a practitioner, is really helpful to confirm all of these little hints you might have gotten, but might not have linked. There's a difference between having like a fleeting thought once and someone telling you, this is where your energy wants you to go. You can go for it. This is the right direction. And the clarity and peace you get from that is really invaluable. You can book in the comments, by the way, if you're interested. I'll put more info. So back to listening. The way you can increase your listening is by creating a lot of space in your life. So it can be meditating, it can be going on a walk, it might be just spending some time in nature, just like sitting on the grass, which actually also reduces inflammation in your body. So it's a win-win. Or just indulging into anything you don't really take the time to indulge in that doesn't require a lot of effort. The third thing I would recommend everyone to do during the period is to use this time to reflect. So we've just talked about listening, but really your period is a time where you look at the big picture of your life and you realize, okay, what am I missing? Like, yes, I'm doing this. My mind is leading me down this strategy, down this road. But actually, what does my heart want? What does my soul want? What does the energy of my business want? Because we all know that our mind has specific ideas about what wants to happen, but actually the mind is here to execute. The heart, the soul, the energy of your business is here to bring forth the vision. So your period is really an ideal time to connect or reconnect with this big vision, get some more insights, using your intuition to clarify this vision and this picture you have for your business and your life, and bring this energy back to your body, to your physical reality, and then start making a plan from there. Because your period, especially during the last few days of your period, when your energy is starting to rise but you're not quite there yet, is actually an ideal time to plan. So it might not be getting into motion as soon as you're getting an idea, but taking the time to outline what you want to do for the months ahead. This is how I use my period and how I make sure to leverage its power the best I can. So that would look like outlining new offers, deciding what you're going to focus on in the months ahead, the 3 weeks ahead, starting to gather resources or doing some kind of research. Your energy will rise soon, and usually when it starts rising, it's like suddenly like you have all this energy, and it can be a bit of a scattering energy, the follicular energy of like, oh, I have energy again, and you start so many different projects. So taking the time to making a plan or making like a rough outline of what you want to use this energy for in the coming cycle is such a game changer, because you'll be able to channel this energy from a place of being grounded, of being in touch with your intuition, and that actually is such a game changer for your business, because you've connected with the energy of your business, you've connected with yourself, and then you're letting your energy implement and take action and focus on the execution in the next phases of your cycle. Basically, if your period had a tagline, it would be rest and rise. It's really a time to go into your cocoon, to rest, to not give a fuck about anything else than you as much as you can, which is usually a bit more than you think you can, and then let yourself be. And from this place, I swear you will have so many breakthroughs, so many new ideas that you're going to be able to bring into the world in the next phase of your cycle. In my next video, we'll see exactly how to leverage this renewed energy for your business, what to focus on exactly during your follicular time, so you can bring in your content and your new offers and your new energy with a bang into the world and get more clients and more impact. This is a time for action. So click here to learn on how best to surf on this newfound momentum.